All right, good afternoon, everybody. If you can go ahead and find your seats, we'll go ahead and start. So going ahead and letting you guys know that this meeting will be recorded, okay? And that we will be posting it on the THEA website. If anyone hasn't done so already, please make sure that you sign into the sign-in sheet that was found outside the door. We want to welcome you guys to the Industry Forum for South Selmon Capacity 2.0. I'm Shannon Bush. I'm the Procurement and Contracts Manager here at THEA. First things first is that I wanted to introduce the THEA staff and our HNTB staff.
Hi, I'm Brad Flom, HNTB. I'll be acting as the project manager for THEA on this project.
Brian Muller, lead project engineer.
Colin Part with HNTB's advisory group and been a procurement advisor on the project.
Brian Ramirez, communication project manager.
Amy Latner, general counsel.
Okay. All right. So first things first is we're going to go over the cone of silence. The cone of silence has remained in place since South Selmon Capacity 1.0. Any communication directly or indirectly to seek to encourage any specific result in connection with an authority selection process, including but not limited to written communications, any and all forms of electronic communication or messaging, including social media, orally communications, either in person or by telephone, initiated by the soon-to-be proposer or through a lobbyist, agent, or third person to any authority employee, technical advisors, and or committee or board member who is a member of the committee constituted for the purposes of ranking submissions, making recommendations, or making an award is prohibited from the time that the procurement is released to the time of the award is made. However, the authority's procurement manager or its designee may initiate communication with the proposer in order to obtain information or clarification needed to develop a proper and accurate evaluation related to this procurement. From the date of the advertisement until notice of award is posted, all communications, except for communication at the industry forum, pre-proposal meetings, ATC review, and other explicitly stated in the procurement documents related to this procurement or project shall be made by sending the following authority email address. So I'm not sure if anybody has it, but I'm going to go ahead and say this out loud. It's procurement, PROCUREMENT at tampa-xway.com. The schedule for today's meeting is as follows. We're doing a pre-recorded presentation that will be found on your screens. First, we're going to allow in-person attendees to have questions. Then we're going to let the virtual attendees submit their questions. Following that, we're going to conclude the meeting. All questions are to be held until the end of the recorded presentation. Please do not ask a question or make a response without being at a microphone. We need to ensure that all attendees, both in person and online, hear your question and the response. I will be standing in the back of the room holding a microphone right down the hallway. If you wish to ask a question, please form a single file line so that the PM is able to respond. Directly following in-person questions, those attending via Zoom, please submit your questions when the session allows. Our technical advisory staff will be assisting to review the questions, and the PM will respond to those questions, which can be answered during the industry forum. All questions will be answered in writing and will be posted to the THEA website. No oral representations or discussions, including the response to questions given orally today, will be binding by the authority. The presentation, again, will be posted on the THEA website. When the RFP is released, there will be exempt records such as structural plans that will require the proposers to complete an exempt document request form. Proper backup, including ID and licensure information, are to be submitted again to the procurement office. Please submit those via email at procurement@tampa-exway.com. And with that, I will go ahead and hand it over to our PM.
Yeah, thank you, Shannon. Again, Brad Flom, HNTB. Really, I just want to share that this is THEA's highest priority project. And we've put a lot of effort over the course of the last year preparing Selmon 2.0. The video we're going to share, I think, will answer a lot of questions. I know you're all hungry for information on this project. And as Shannon said, hold your questions, but let's roll the video.
Welcome to the Industry Forum for the South Selmon Capacity Project. The project roles, including the supporting engineering firms for the project, are shown here. The project extends 4.5 miles along the Selmon Expressway from west of Himes Avenue to east of Florida Avenue. The primary project scope is to add a third travel lane in each direction within the median. The project will be delivered by the selected design-build team. THEA's project goals are to reduce congestion and improve operations and safety for motorists and pedestrians, minimize impacts to the community, adjacent properties, and roadway users during construction, and expedite the East End construction, improve signing, ITS, and lighting along the corridor, minimize the number of traffic control phases to limit disruption to customers, maintain all tolling points, and provide enhanced aesthetics along the corridor at local road underpasses and at the Hillsborough River Bridge. The project has a completed PD&E which details these project commitments. These have been incorporated into the RFP. To balance the risk for this project, THEA has performed the listed risk mitigation measures. These are detailed in the RFP and addressed within this presentation. Project scope. The scope of work on this project encompasses all the major work elements you would expect on a modern urban expressway capacity expansion project. However, it does not include landscaping, as this will be performed through a subsequent project. A third travel lane will be added in each direction within the median. For most of the corridor, the typical section includes a 4-foot inside shoulder and a 10-foot outside shoulder. The median roadway was widened under a previous project along most of the corridor. However, the bridges were not widened. As depicted in color, it is anticipated the outside shoulders will need to be reconstructed to accommodate the proposed noise walls. For much of the project, the CSX Railroad abuts the right-of-way along the westbound roadway. East of Platt Street, the typical section includes a 4-foot outside shoulder and a 10-foot inside shoulder due to limited sight distance and to reduce impacts to ramps in the downtown viaduct section. As depicted in color, medium pavement reconstruction and medium barrier are required at all bridge approaches and a few other roadway segments. Additionally, all guardrail within the project limits is to be replaced with new guardrail. As depicted in typical section 1 on the left, the proposed noise walls may result in slopes within the existing ditch. Where right-of-way is limited and ditch capacity must be maintained, it is anticipated that gravity walls will be required, as shown in typical section 2 on the right. The mainline cross slopes are to be corrected utilizing pavement overbuild, as shown in red, to meet FDM criteria where possible. Special attention shall be given to provide for a minimum 36-inch high median barrier. A cross-slope design variation has been prepared for areas where it is infeasible or impractical to meet FDM criteria. The west project limit is west of Himes Avenue and ties into the recently completed West Selmon Extension project. The east project limit is 5 bridge spans east of Florida Avenue. This portion of the project is on viaduct and includes median bridge widening to accommodate the westbound Morgan Street on-ramp revision from a merge condition to an auxiliary lane addition. This is a major safety improvement. There are 5 interchanges within the project limits. At Euclid Avenue interchange, the most significant improvements are the lengthening of the left turn lane along the westbound off-ramp, as depicted in orange, and a new sidewalk on the north side of Euclid Avenue. The westbound entrance ramp from Willow Avenue will maintain its alignment but be widened downstream to increase the ramp acceleration length to improve safety. It's anticipated that this will result in a new MSE wall, depicted in red, being attached to the existing retaining wall. The proximity to the CSX Railroad right-of-way constrains the work area. The RFP details the design-build firm's responsibilities related to CSX Railroad, including coordination and payment for railroad flagging operations. The westbound off-ramp to Willow Avenue will be widened on both sides to accommodate 3 lanes at the intersection with Cleveland Street, which will be newly signalized. The westbound off-ramp to Plant Avenue will be widened to the outside to accommodate a 2-lane exit. It's anticipated that this will require redecking and minor widening of a portion of the westbound mainline bridge, as depicted in pink. Additional ramp work will include super-elevation correction, a new retaining wall, and relocating the existing toll facility to the north side of the ramp. This exit serves Tampa General Hospital and must remain open at all times. THEA is in the process of reviewing and ultimately approving a number of design variations and exceptions along the corridor. The RFP will provide this documentation and outline a process for consideration of additions or revisions. The temporary traffic control plan goals are listed and will be emphasized in the following material. THEA has established 1,640 contract days, which has been factored upward to include weather days and holidays. The design-build firm schedule should take into account availability of the toll equipment contractor, the City of Tampa's West Riverwalk project, and lane closure restrictions. Furthermore, THEA desires to expedite completion of the East End to minimize disruption to the downtown area and advance improvements to traffic operations and safety. The RFP outlines the specifics for East End partial acceptance, including opening all mainline lanes east of Station 614+00, both Plant Avenue ramps, and the Tampa Street reconnection in their final condition. An incentive-disincentive daily amount of $15,000 per day is applied for each day, up to 360 days, before or after 1,280 days, for a maximum incentive-disincentive amount of $5.4 million. The RFP will specify the noted lane closure restrictions. For most of the corridor, it's anticipated construction will occur over 2 primary phases. Median roadway and bridge work will take place in Phase 1, followed by outside improvements in Phase 2. Pre-phase work may be necessary to maintain minimum lane and shoulder widths. Furthermore, additional phases are anticipated to fully redeck the bridges at Himes and Mississippi Avenues. All THEA-owned right-of-way throughout the corridor is available to the contractor. This includes parking lots under the Selmon Expressway in the downtown area, which will be closed for an extended period. Additionally, the Tampa Street connection under the Selmon Expressway will be closed and detoured. The project includes extensive modifications to the existing bridges and miscellaneous structures. These include 26 existing bridges to be widened, of which 4 bridges require a full deck replacement, and 6 steel bridges that need to be cleaned and recoated. 7 of the proposed bridge designs require an independent peer review in accordance with the FDOT design manual. Additional structural components included in the project scope include various types of retaining walls and approximately 5.2 miles of noise walls. THEA completed a structural analysis of the existing cast-in-place retaining walls and verified their ability to support barrier-mounted 8-foot noise walls. The 26 existing bridges to be widened have superstructures comprised of steel girders, pre-stressed concrete beams, and in some cases both. The majority of the existing bridges are comprised of ASHTO beams and will be widened with floor-to I-beams. In addition to the proposed widenings, the bridges over Himes and Mississippi Avenues require full deck replacements due to existing substandard decks. The full deck replacements are to accommodate standard single-slope traffic railings and proposed 8-foot noise walls. As depicted on the left section view, the bridges over Watrous and Howard Avenues consist of both steel and pre-stressed concrete. The entire westbound bridge contains ASHTO beams, while the eastbound bridge is comprised entirely of steel girders. Due to the dissimilar superstructure types, the bridges at this location will require separate median widenings and will remain as 2 independent bridges. As shown on the right plan view, the bridges over McDill Avenue and Beta Bay Boulevard will also contain a combination of steel and concrete girders. There are several locations with challenging pier configurations. At Howard and Watrous, the orientation of the expressway to the underlying roadways results in pier locations with skewed bridge spans. At McDill Avenue, it's anticipated that an integral steel straddle pier span will be required at a realigned Santiago Street. At the Hillsborough River, it's anticipated mud-lying footings for the piers will be constructed in the riverbed. It's also anticipated that the proposed footings will necessitate the removal and replacement of a portion of the existing fender system, approximately 30 feet on each side, and the navigation light system. The main navigation channel is to remain open during construction. East of the Hillsborough River, the Tampa Street connection to Franklin Street will be realigned to pass under 4 proposed straddle piers, similar to the one depicted here. East of Franklin Street, it's anticipated the proposed hammerhead piers will be placed in the center of the travelway within the parking lots. Two-way traffic will be provided, which is expected to result in some loss of parking spaces. All existing concrete bridge spans will undergo cleaning and coating as depicted. Similarly, the 6 existing steel superstructure bridges will undergo cleaning and coating. Existing roadway meeting barriers, slope pavement at bridge abutments, retaining walls, and sidewalks will also require cleaning and coating. Here's a list of the extensive geotechnical exploration performed in support of the project, and this data will be provided with the RFP. It's anticipated that the drainage design will include 8 new or modified stormwater ponds and a new underground storage chamber system located under the Selmon Main Line and west of Beta Bay Boulevard as depicted. It's important to note that the design of this chamber system must accommodate the future public recreational area planned by THEA under a separate project. It's expected that a limited amount of new piping be required. However, there will be a substantial number of inlet replacements along the proposed noise walls. Extensive new or regraded roadside ditches will be required to provide proper conveyance. In the procurement phase, design-build firms are to assume pipelining of all existing pipes to be utilized in their design. It should be noted that the majority of pipes were constructed with the original roadway and are over 50 years old. Following award and prior to 90% plans, the design-build firm shall video inspect all pipes to be utilized in their design and recommend alternatives to pipelining if necessary. If pipe replacements are determined to be necessary by THEA, this will be considered additional work. THEA is currently proceeding with obtaining the following permits based on concept plans from the listed agencies, with initial permit applications to be submitted by the end of this year. This information lists the primary scope of work for signing. The project scope includes the addition of 2 new 72-pair fiber trunk lines on each side of the main line in order to provide communication with the Traffic Management Center and support tolling. Additionally, wrong-way driving detection is to be provided at the 5 off-ramps. Multiple portable camera locations are to be determined by the design-build firm to support full coverage of project limits throughout construction. This information lists the primary scope of work for roadway lighting. Special attention will be given to mitigate any roadway lighting intrusion into the neighborhoods. The tolling scope includes a new mainline gantry with aesthetic concrete columns, a new gantry at the westbound Plant Avenue off-ramp, and a new test gantry at the eastbound Willow Avenue off-ramp. The RFP outlines requirements for the design-build firm's coordination with THEA's toll equipment contractor, who will install and test the tolling equipment. To facilitate the maintenance of tolling operations, the design-build firm may schedule use of THEA's temporary portable toll gantry. The project includes signalizing the 4 listed intersections which are currently unsignalized and replacing the existing span wire traffic signal with new mast arms at the intersection of Willow Avenue and Cleveland Street. THEA's approach to the utility scope on this project has been to collect zoo data in order to accurately determine conflicts based on the concept plans. Coordination with the UAOs is ongoing to obtain draft utility work schedules. For utility conflicts with proposed bridge piers, THEA will compensate utility owners for advanced relocation, with the intent that this work be completed by the end of 2025. THEA has already developed an agreement with Frontier to relocate utilities to be attached to the underside of the westbound Hillsborough Bridge. THEA will issue an amendment to the RFP to provide the draft utility work schedules and utility relocation plans once they have been completed. Some utility relocation work is anticipated to be completed by the design-build firm. The most significant aesthetic element on the project is associated with the addition of signature structural features adjacent to and adjoining the Selmon Expressway over the Hillsborough River Bridge. The inspiration comes from Tampa's historical and current relationship with maritime activities. The theme is composed of diametrically opposite configurations of large freestanding masts and sails, with cable stays terminating at decorative buttons. The buttons spell out Tampa using the International Code of Maritime Signals. These elements will be both internally and externally illuminated. The illumination of the bridge features will be on an independent, fully programmable circuit. The white portion of the sails will be externally illuminated. They will also include a steel mesh panel with internal illumination projecting a uniform glow. The buttons will also include this internal illumination glow. However, the signal flags will be externally illuminated. These signature river bridge aesthetic features represent THEA's base concept, which is to be the basis of the design build firm's price proposal. Alternative concepts may be explored during the procurement and after award through a process to be discussed later in this presentation. The aesthetics will also include decorative form liner applications for the barrier-mounted noise walls. The community-facing design will include architectural inset panels and red brick patterning to reflect the historic nature of the adjacent neighborhoods. The roadway-facing noise walls will also include the architectural inset panels. However, they will not include the brick patterning. Local roadways beneath the Selmon Expressway, west of Plant Avenue, will include some or all of the following: milling and resurfacing, restriping, curb replacement, sidewalk replacement, and new sidewalk. Aesthetic treatments will include stamped concrete, brick pavers, landscape curb, and crushed seashell. Where possible, the pedestrian pavement should extend behind the pier columns. A combination of red brick and concrete is preferred, as is a curvilinear geometry. The underpasses will also be provided with underdeck down lighting to provide a wall-washed illumination of the existing stratified abutment. Other aesthetic lighting scope is under the Hillsborough River and for the proposed signature structural sail features. Procurement. THEA has selected an adjusted score design-build approach for the procurement of this project. Proposers will provide a lump sum, fixed price for development, design, and construction of the scope of work, delivered according to their technical approach and on a committed schedule. Price, qualifications, and technical approach will be considered as part of the evaluation. However, THEA has determined to establish maximum contract time rather than to evaluate schedule as part of the proposal selection. THEA is also implementing an innovative delivery approach that it's calling the Accelerated Scope Augmentation Phase, or ASAP. The ASAP, which will last for a period of 90 days after execution of the contract, will provide the selected design build firm and the authority the opportunity to collaboratively investigate and develop potential project augmentations. Project augmentations are improvements to the base scope of work that may enhance safety, for example, by improving shoulder widths or lengthening acceleration lanes, improve drainage, such as at the South Howard Outfall, or improve aesthetics, in particular at the Hillsborough River Bridge. THEA will determine the specific project augmentations to be developed during the ASAP and the scope of pre-construction work, including tasks and deliverables required of the design build firm prior to contract execution. Based on the deliverables submitted by the design build firm and THEA's assessment of their feasibility, affordability, and public benefit, the authority may choose to implement one or more project augmentations via a design build amendment. However, THEA also has the right to proceed without implementation of any of the project augmentations according to the design build firm's original proposal. All ASAP-related pre-construction work will be completed on a time and materials basis at a fixed multiplier for actual approved costs. The procurement will proceed according to two phases. The first will involve submittal of qualifications through an expanded letter of interest and will result in establishment of a short list of proposers. The second phase will involve submission of technical and price proposals. The technical proposal will address an approach to both delivery of the base scope of work and the ASAP phase work, though not the project augmentations themselves, and will include submission of a project design concept. THEA will include an alternative technical concepts process to consider potential innovative aspects from proposers. Price proposals will represent a fixed price lump sum for delivery of the project on the established schedule. The Phase 1 submittal will involve expanded letters of interest detailing past performance history, similar project experience, a proposed staffing and organizational plan, and a narrative discussing project requirements, design and construction criteria, and critical issues, including aesthetics and community involvement. Additional pass-fail criteria and an organizational chart and resumes, and a performance history will also be required, as well as pre-qualification in all required work type. 50 points are available for ELOI allocated across the criteria mentioned. THEA will recommend between 3 and 5 proposers for shortlisting if reasonably practical. It should be noted that ELOI scoring will not carry forward into final selection. The following major and minor work types require contractor pre-qualification or subcontractor pre-qualification in the case of minor work. Consultant pre-qualifications are required as listed. Shortlisted firms will be invited to submit technical and price proposals. Technical proposals will describe the proposed technical approach to all elements of work, as well as project plans and renderings. In particular, THEA is requesting submission of renderings for 2 alternative aesthetic designs for a signature bridge concept and noise wall form liner aesthetics. Such alternatives shall be similar in cost to the authority's concept. The quality of the alternative proposed aesthetic concepts will be evaluated. However, pricing of such alternatives will not be included or evaluated. Alternative aesthetic concepts may be addressed in the previously described 90-day ASAP phase. The technical proposals will be evaluated by a review committee based on the following point allocations. The final technical proposal score will be determined as the average of each evaluator's score. The design-build firm shall adhere to THEA's SBE policy. Note, SBE utilization is part of the technical evaluation score. THEA has included an ATC process to evaluate proposed innovative aspects that could be included in the project. ATCs are limited to means and methods, alignments, approach to project delivery, and other similar innovations, and proposed design exceptions, changes in scope, or modifications to the horizontal and/or vertical geometry as limited by the RFP. ATCs shall not include revisions to specifications, standards, or established authority policies, reduce the construction coverage, diminish the design criteria or quality, or increase impacts, or address Hillsborough River Bridge signature aesthetic features or structures. ATCs also shall not address the project augmentations. The price proposal shall consist of a total lump sum contract amount representing full, complete, and final compensation for the work required to complete the project within the time required. Total lump sum contract amount shall not include costs for augmentation process, nor potential project augmentations. A price proposal guarantee of not less than 5% of the total lump sum contract amount is required at the time of submission. The authority will host Q&A with shortlisted proposers to allow the authority to seek clarification on technical proposals. The RFP will detail the expectations and restrictions for these Q&A sessions. The intended selected proposer will be the responsive and responsible proposer whose adjusted score is lowest, with the adjusted score equaling the bid price divided by the technical score. The major milestones of the preliminary procurement schedule are as listed. The expanded final procurement schedule will be included in the RFP. Following advertisement, the documents will be located at the website listed. All questions should be emailed to the THEA Procurement Office at the email listed. Note, the cone of silence remains in place for all THEA staff, board members, and supporting consultants. This presentation or verbal representations made at this meeting are not binding on THEA. The RFP and any addendums are the official project documents and communications. It is critical that all parties understand and respect the ongoing cone of silence. All questions shall be emailed to the THEA Procurement Office at the email address shown. Thank you for your interest in the South Selmon Capacity Project.
All right. I'm hoping you enjoyed that video. As Shannon said, it will be posted on the procurement site, probably not until next week. So look for that. With that, we'll take questions here in the room, and then if you're online, you can certainly post some questions and we'll follow with those. So anybody brave enough to ask some questions? Sir? Oh, yeah, Shannon. Sorry, Shannon. Yeah, it's just that everybody online needs to hear.
You said there was no landscaping on the job, but you saw, landscaping as a pre-qual for the consultant. Is there an inconsistency there, or what are you thinking?
Perhaps, yeah, we'll take a look at that. Yeah, the landscaping will indeed follow the project. Be a follow-on contract. Thank you for pointing that out. Anyone else? Anything online at this point? Get up and read them, or do you want to maybe take? Oh, we got Chris. He's got a question.
Hey, Brad, can y'all put up the schedule of events one more time so we can maybe,
67, Brian. You mean for procurement? Oh. We're gonna emphasize that this has a quick project. Yeah, so advertisement, planned for November 13th. Expanded letters of interest, January 17th with, public posting of shortlist February 12th. So that would be, phase one of the procurement. You're gonna have to.
I didn't see anything about the maximum price or budget that you have for this project.
That's correct. You did not see that. We expect this project to be somewhere between the $300 and $400 million range. We encourage you to bid lower than that, though. So we do have a question about this being Selmon 2.0 and the history of the project. We're going to share that history online so that we clearly define that history. It's a long history, so we'll get that properly posted. We have a question. It was difficult to hear the introductions. Did you specify who will be on the TRC for this project? we have not specified who will be on TRC on this project. That will be provided later. Of course, we did emphasize, and I will again, the cone of silence. Is there another, Brian? Okay. I see a question about, a mention about how this will impact tolls. Well, it's intended not to impact tolls. One of the goals is to maintain tolling during the operations, and the toll slide emphasizes the ability to use the portable gantry to maintain that if necessary.
Brad, we've got one more in-person question.
I didn't see anything about a stipend. Is there any?
Yeah, there is going to be a stipend on the project that will be included with the RFP. It's generally following FDOT guidelines. We have no more online questions. Any more in-person questions? One more, at least.
Can you elaborate a little further on the signature bridge requirement, please?
Sure. You want to get into it? Well, first of all, you want to show the slide just so we're looking at that. That would be, you got it? So through a lot of collaboration with the authority here, it was deemed that instead of spreading a lot of major investment in aesthetics, even though we are improving the underpasses, that we really wanted to do something significant here for the community. And so this concept was developed and as clearly defined in the video, is the intent that this be the basis of your bid. Okay, so that kind of leads us to the accelerated scope augmentation phase. You want to cover that, Colin?
Yeah, sure. So as Brad mentioned, the design you see here will be the basis of your bid and your price. However, as you heard in the evaluation criteria, there's a desire for up to two alternative designs for a signature bridge concept that are similar in terms of what their price impact would be, to get a sense of creativity and additional concepts that we might be able to bring to the table. Those will not be included in the price proposal, though, as I mentioned, they should be of a similar nature in terms of cost to the price design that you see here. During that 90-day period of what we're calling the ASAP phase, if at THEA's election, it can select to ask the selected design build firm to collaborate on the development of either a variation of those designs or something different based on community feedback, based on its own preferences, or proceed with the design seen here. So it's designed to give some flexibility while still providing some price certainty regarding the inclusion of a signature bridge concept.
Thanks, Colin. And then if it's not clear, these are clearly, this is a faux cable stay, all right? These towers are aesthetic in nature, and the cables are aesthetic in nature as well. We had another online question. How will toll system equipment vendor be selected? They're already selected. Yes, Tim? You want to cover that one? All right. I'll let you.
Hi, Tim Garrett, Acting Interim Tolls Director for THEA. We have a separate procurement that we anticipate being advertised in the first quarter of the calendar year for a toll equipment contractor. We anticipate that that toll equipment contractor will be installing the new equipment at these sites. If it is not ready, we will use our existing toll equipment contractor and then swap it out when the new toll equipment is ready for that. As a follow-up to the prior question regarding toll sites, there was mention of a portable gantry. As mentioned during the presentation, there's anticipated to be 2 toll sites that are impacted. That's the West Main Line toll site, which has both an eastbound and a westbound direction to it, as well as the Plant Avenue off-ramp westbound. And then we also have an additional toll site at the Willow off-ramp. The mainline gantry, we do not anticipate, we don't believe that the portable gantry will support that site, but we believe within the construction of that particular toll site or the new toll site, there should be no lapse in tolls. In other words, the new site will be constructed before the existing site is demolished.
Thank you, Tim. Another question online, how many firms will be shortlisted? As stated in the video, 3 to 5 firms will be shortlisted. Question here?
Yeah. Hey, Brad. Just about the ASAP phase, are you gonna consider like adjustments to the contract time as part of approving or disapproving the proposals made during that phase?
It possibly, but we hope not to. So yeah, the goal is to expedite the project and complete it within the 1,640 days. Last call for questions. Any online? None online? Any in the room? Going once, twice, sold. Thank you very much, everybody. This is a wrap. And I appreciate your interest in this significant project.
Just remember, if you didn't sign in before the meeting, please make sure that you sign in whenever you leave.